The PWHL has officially revealed the branding for all 6 teams ahead of the league's second season. The Boston Fleet, Minnesota Frost, Montréal Victoire, New York Sirens, Ottawa Charge, and Toronto Sceptres. This is an Icethetics Flash Report for September 20th. I'm Chris. Thanks for watching. Before we delve into the announcement itself, let's do a quick recap of the PWHL. You can use the chapter markers below to skip ahead if you're already up to speed. The Professional Women's Hockey League was announced in August 2023, supplanting the PHF, Premier Hockey Federation, with 6 founding franchises set to play in Boston, Minneapolis, Montreal, New York, Ottawa, and Toronto. With the inaugural season only about 100 days away, the timeline was deemed too tight to develop proper branding for all 6 franchises in time for Game 1. Instead, the league announced that each team would begin play with generic names and basic jerseys, featuring a simple diagonal word mark across the chest, highlighting the team's home location. In September, 1 year ago, the new clubs began establishing social media accounts, which teased their unique color schemes, and by November, jersey designs had been officially released. PWHL Boston would be forest green and gray. PWHL Minnesota assigned purple and black. Montreal was given burgundy along with storm and sand, a dark gray and off-white. New York adopted turquoise and navy blue. Ottawa got red and dark gray. And PWHL Toronto would be clad in a bright blue and black. The idea was that while teams would use placeholder names for their first season, the colors could be more permanent. But in between these official reveals, an apparent leak. Filings with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office by PWHL Holdings divulged the team names that seemed to be under consideration for the new league: the Boston Wicked, Minnesota Superior, Montreal Echo, New York Sound, Ottawa Alert, and Toronto Torch. As we saw in the announcement, none of these ended up sticking. So the inaugural season opened on January 1st, 2024, and was widely considered to be a success, as attendance records for women's hockey were repeatedly smashed, culminating with more than 21,000 on hand at the Bell Center to watch Montreal host Toronto in an overtime thriller. In the end, PWHL Minnesota captured the league's first ever championship on May 29th. Since then, all summer long, fans have clamored for an answer on team branding. Who would they be cheering on next season? On Thursday, September 5th, came the first signs of change. Every club posted a teaser image overlaid with their primary color and a date, Monday, September 9th, with the league itself announcing a new era is coming. And that brings us current. The official announcement of the branding for all 6 franchises across social media and even on live television in the US and Canada. The brands, including names and logos, were all developed in partnership with an up-and-coming New York-based marketing agency called Flower Shop. Their previous work has involved sports icons like Tom Brady and Billie Jean King, a major advisor to the PWHL. Now, let's go through it all team by team. First up, the Boston Fleet, a tribute to the city's connection to the sea and its maritime history. The forward-leaning logo is said to evoke a sail catching the wind, but fans of the Hartford Whalers logo may draw some parallels. In fact, Hartford's old minor league affiliate in Binghamton, New York, used to wear this design. The B itself is said to emulate an anchor, and inside it, a wave pattern. The new Fleet brand carries over the deep green from last season while trading silver and white for navy blue and seafoam green. Next, the Minnesota Frost, a name inspired by the weather that ushers in the season of hockey in the state of hockey, a place where people embrace the cold of winter. The logo is a stylized F draped in icicles, said to reflect the team's precision and intensity on the ice. It's an identity adorned in sharp edges and one that retains the deep purple of their inaugural season but trades the black accents for a contrasting lavender. Then there's the Montréal Victoire, meaning victory in English, but the team will never be referred to that way. There's no anglicized version of this club's name. They will only be known as the Victoire. The brand is described by the team as, above all, a mindset more than anything else. Win or lose, it's a way of life for a decorated sporting city. Their mark is an instant classic, a brand new design that somehow feels timeless. Interconnecting abstract shapes seem to form wings, or maybe the shape of a V, and hide an M for Montreal. And at the center, there's a fleur-de-lis, a well-known symbol of Quebec. The Victoire design is the highlight of this new class of logos. Carried over from last season's look are burgundy and sand, while the storm gray is swapped for a deep navy blue. Representing the Big Apple are the New York Sirens. It may sound like a reference to classic Greek mythology, the alluring yet dangerous female beings who tempted Odysseus and his crew out at sea. But no, it's much more literal than that, said to be inspired by the blare of a gull horn and an ode to the constant hum of New York City itself. The Sirens aim to capture the noise of the city that never sleeps. Even the logo features a literal reverberation of the S's on each end. The stylized NY underneath is a nod to the city's bold architecture. New York's new look maintains the turquoise and navy blue worn last season, inspired by the copper patina on the Statue of Liberty and the glowing night sky, while trading gray for a bright orange accent. In Canada's capital, it's the Ottawa Charge, said to be named for their electrifying brand of hockey and the energy of their fans. The name is more abstract than most of its PWHL counterparts, and that helps it stand out. The primary logo is described as a spinning object charged with electricity and intensity. On first glance, it's an O for Ottawa, but the cut within also highlights a C for charge. The sparks emanating from the back of the letterform are meant to emphasize forward momentum. Unfortunately, they also call to mind another letter-shaped Canadian hockey logo that's also red and yellow. Still, it is the centerpiece of an energetic new brand that's sticking with red and dark gray from Season 1 while adding a yellow accent. And finally, perhaps the most surprising of the new PWHL brands, the Toronto Sceptres, intended to be symbolic of hockey royalty in one of the sport's biggest markets. Nicknamed the Queen City in certain circles, Toronto holds a significant place in the hockey world, and now its newest team has a name to match. The logo is a classic monogram, seamlessly intertwining the club's initials, T and S, with an orb forming the top of the scepter. It's also not been lost on fans that a mark like this has been seen before in pop culture, even in these colors. But whether intentional or not, in the face of any such accusations, the Sceptres would probably just shake it off. The logo itself employs new colors not seen on last season's Toronto jerseys, bright shades of yellow contrasted by a dark navy blue. But based on the graphics released by the team and the league, it seems likely that the original shade of blue could still anchor the jerseys. On that note, I'd love to talk jersey designs, but those were not part of this announcement. The PWHL says those will be released at a later date, closer to the new season, which is likely to start in November or December. In fact, the league announced its new official jersey partner back in May. Bauer will take the lead on providing game and replica jerseys beginning next season. By the way, Bauer has been an official apparel partner for the PWHL since last season. And with new gear on the way, Bauer apparently built placeholder pages for its website that may have gone live by mistake late Sunday night. Adam Lascaris posted online what appear to be screenshots from Bauer's dedicated team pages, each of which contained 4 possible names under the word placeholder. These are likely the final 4 nicknames that were in contention for each team, given out to partners like Bauer to reduce the possibility of a leak like we saw last year. But it does give us a quick look at the roads not taken. For Boston, Beyond Fleet and Wicked from last year, Blitz and Emeralds were apparently being looked at. For Minnesota, Monarchs and Marmots made the short list. Marmots would have been a unique name in pro sports, that's for sure, but the PWHL avoided any traditional animal mascots for their clubs. Montreal considered Metro as a possible moniker, along with another French name in Lumières, meaning lights in English. New York could have been the Rush, though that is an existing ECHL team, or the New York Odyssey, which does make the Sirens name all the more interesting. Ottawa could have been called the Advance, like the city's motto, or the Guard, and to be honest, I think Guard could have been a huge win. Though it may lack the superficial energy of a name like Charge, the Ottawa Guard just has a strong and dignified feel. And lastly, Toronto's alternatives seem to be the Sentinels and the Tempests. This is another one like Ottawa, but reversed. I have no problem with Sceptres, but Toronto Tempests could have been a lot of fun. Anyway, that about covers it for the PWHL brand launch. I'm excited to see how these new hockey brands develop and evolve in the years to come. I'm especially eager to see the new uniforms for next season. For what it's worth, last season's jerseys were made by SP, which is the same company that runs the factory that's been making pretty much all pro hockey sweaters for the last 50 years, and is currently making NHL jerseys for Fanatics. And that's all for now. Remember to drop a like before you go if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my upcoming Jersey Watch, the 24-25 NHL season preview. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.